Hello, grade 5. How are you? I hope you're doing good. Well, today we're going to discuss together another lesson in Inca Empire. But before starting, I just want to remind you of what we are going to cover throughout quarter 4. Here's our plan for week 4. Here. What we're going to discuss this week is, of course, the Inca Empire, but mainly we were going to talk furthermore about cities, about political system, about roads system. What you are supposed to be able to express is determining the geographical features of Inca and to know how to analyze the terms and names given. I'm going to give you some terms and names, and you are supposed to be able to recognize them, analyze them as well. We will use videos and PowerPoint. Of course, I'm going to give you a handout sheet for the lesson. You would be asked to do your homework, to search online, and finally having a quiz. Let's start. Here, I'm just trying to maximize so you could see. Well, before we studied together Inca Empire, and we talked about the location, where exactly is it, and also we had a nickname of Inca Empire, which is the land of the 4 quarters here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. After that, we talked about the ruler and the god, sun god. We finished all that. Today we will talk about, as I told you, about cities, political system, and roads system. Okay? Before starting, I just want you to watch a video.
On the edge of western South America, wedged between Earth's driest desert, largest rainforest, and second highest mountain range, lay a sprawling empire. The Inca, through ingenious engineering and strict central planning, forged one of the world's most unusual empires. It was the largest empire in the pre-Columbian Americas, without a written language, the wheel, or money, and one of the only empires to stretch upwards rather than across. In this video, we will look at how the Inca rose to power from unknown origins and dominated their region. When Columbus arrived in the Americas in 1492, he was unaware that about 2,000 kilometers away lay a bustling empire of 2 million square kilometers. Tahuantinsuyu, the land of the 4 quarters, as the Inca called their realm, included parts of modern Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. It had a population of more than 10 million across innumerable ethnic groups and languages. The Inca developed in near isolation, so their culture was missing many things that were vital in the old world. The wheel was absent, along with any draft animal capable of pulling weight. Steel and iron were unknown, while gold, silver, and bronze were masterfully worked. Most intriguing was that they lacked a written language, so their knowledge was passed on orally or through a unique system of knots called quipu. These knots were used to collect data, keep records, measure taxes, and record the census. However, as the Spanish established control over the Inca, the ability to read quipu faded away, and the records are now indecipherable to us. Therefore, most of the history we have about the Inca has come down to us through Spanish historians or oral traditions. With that in mind, let's take a look at the origins of the Inca Empire. Ancient Peru was one of the ancient cradles of civilization, and between 8000 and 3000 BC, the people there domesticated llamas and alpacas, along with an immense variety of crops such as potatoes, corn, beans, peanuts, squashes, and quinoa. From these early agricultural societies, a series of complex cultures emerged, such as Tiwanaku, Wari, and Chimu. By 900 AD, states like Tiwanaku were erecting huge stone structures, building highways and canals, and maintaining a capital of 50,000 people at a time when London had around 30,000, all at 3,000 meters above sea level. The Inca were the final great society to emerge here, and inherited much from those that came before. As the Chimu Empire was at its peak, to its south, the tiny kingdom of Cuzco slumbered. This small kingdom would rapidly transform into Tawantinsuyu, or what we call the Inca Empire. Where exactly did the Inca come from? Well, let's take a look at the Inca's own mythological origin story. It begins with the great creator god Viracocha, who came upon 3 caves. From the central cave, Viracocha brought forth 4 brothers and 4 sisters. These were to be the founders of the Inca civilization. Out of the side caves stepped others, who were to be the forebears of the other, less important Inca clans. One of the brothers, Aya Manco, armed with a golden staff capable of testing soil, led his people on an exodus-like journey, at the end of which he was the only remaining brother. Upon entering the valley of Cuzco, the golden staff sank into the ground, and so his people settled there. The city of Cuzco was founded, and Aya Manco adopted the name Manco Capac. This is one of the many origin myths of the Inca. The myth would be regularly changed and updated for political reasons. For example, if the Inca wanted to integrate a foreign state or power into their empire, then that entity would conveniently find itself wedged into the current mythology. But Manco Capac was probably a real person that led a group of nomads into the valley and founded Cuzco in the early 13th century. The history of the first 8 Inca kings is lost in the mists of time. Its 9th king was the first to step into certain history. An Inca Alexander the Great, called Kusi Yupanqui, rose to power in the early 1400s. At the time of his birth, the kingdom of Cuzco was barely more than a chiefdom. He was not the first in line to the throne, but after Cuzco was besieged by 40,000 enemy Chanca soldiers, and his king father and prince brother fled the city, it was Kusi Yupanqui who organized a defense and not only saved the city, but also won himself the crown. Before his reign, his kingdom held the small territory around Cuzco, but within a single lifetime, he and his son had stretched the new empire from present-day Bolivia to Ecuador. He adopted the name Pachacuti, which means Earthshaker, or he who turns the world upside down. Through the use of spies, Pachacuti would assess the military strength and wealth of the other states in the region. After collecting this information, he would send messages to the leaders of these states, attempting to persuade them to join his empire. He promised they would keep their position and would grow even more powerful. Luxury goods and riches would be poured upon them, only, however, if they submitted peacefully. If they accepted, the heirs of that ruler would be sent to the royal court in Cuzco, whereupon they would be educated in an Inca fashion and raised to be perfect Incas. Once transformed, they were then sent back to rule their realms in a thoroughly Inca style. If they did not accept, they were usually crushed by the huge multi-ethnic army Pachacuti built. Pachacuti reorganized the kingdom of Cuzco into Tawantinsuyu using a federalist system. He split the empire into 4 parts, or suyus, each managed by provincial governors that reported directly to the central government in Cusco. Cusco was transformed into a suitable imperial city and center to Pachacuti's new empire. The city was paved with perfectly cut stone, and from its center spread vast highways linking all the suyus. Along with these highway projects, Pachacuti also initiated the construction of huge royal estates, the most famous of which is Machu Picchu, located 2,430 meters above sea level. The rapid growth of the empire was incredible, and even more impressive was the idea that the Inca actually tried to integrate the conquered peoples into their empire rather than just setting up mostly independent tributary states like the Aztecs had done. By the time Pachacuti's grandson, Huayna Capac, sat on the throne, there was hardly anything else left to possibly conquer. Militarily, the Inca were extremely organized and used a flexible decimal system to organize units. They could raise armies of hundreds of thousands of soldiers and move them across rough terrain with ease. Almost all able-bodied men between 25 and 50 had military training. Each province would send men to join a military campaign whenever needed. The state made sure that no province was sending more men than they could, and on particularly long campaigns, men were regularly allowed to return home to make sure their lives did not fall out of order. Like the Aztecs, the Inca relied on cotton armor. They wore thick alpaca wool tunics and helmets to protect themselves. These tunics were so effective at stopping arrows that Spanish soldiers adopted them while fighting the Inca, and there are reports of them leaving battles looking like porcupines with dozens of arrows wedged in their armor. A large shield made of hardwood imported from their jungle provinces was kept on their back. Another, much smaller shield made of lighter wood was kept on the arm. A small cape attached to it could be used to protect their legs from missiles. As the empire was so diverse, they relied on an equally diverse range of weapons and soldiers. Men recruited from the jungle provinces were excellent bowmen, while those from the other provinces preferred dart throwers and slings. For melee combat, the Inca had a varied arsenal. Spears, axes, clubs, star-headed maces, and halberds were the most common weapons and could be made from stone, bronze, or bone. The Inca were talented with bolas, which were multiple stones tied together that wrapped around an enemy's legs. These would be used effectively against the Spanish cavalry. The Inca used their military to expand their reach across the spine of South America, crushing resistance wherever it showed its head. In less than 100 years, they created the greatest empire in the Americas. But how did they keep it all functioning, and how did they keep 10 million mouths fed in a land of extremes? We will cover that in the next episode. Thank you for watching this video in our series on the pre-Columbian civilizations. The next episode will depict how the Inca civilization worked. If you enjoy this series, please let us know in the comments below. We would like to express our gratitude to our Patreon supporters who make the
Thank you for watching. Now I'm going to talk with you in detail about the information that we already took a look at by the handout sheet. I'm going to help you out with it. Here we have here the terms and names that we are supposed to memorize. Bureaucracy. What bureaucracy means? Well, as you see, the system in Inca Empire, it was built up upon bureaucracy. What the meaning of bureaucracy, Ms. Ola? What does it mean? What this word means? This is very important to you to know. Bureaucracy means a system of government in which most of the important decisions are taken by state officials rather than by elected representatives. As you see here, there was no election at that time, but they were ruling the empire by a system determined by the government. They are the only ones who take the important decisions, and these important decisions are taken by state officials, okay, not by elected representatives, okay. Pakuchti, as we said, who is he? He was the ruler under whom the Incan Empire grew quickly, okay. We already took that term before, Alo. What does it mean? It's a small community of clan whose members work together for the common good, okay. Okay, now these are the only terms for this session. The first 3 terms, please memorize them, you'd be asked about. Now let's talk about Inca built an empire. The Inca civilization arose in the Andes of South America. It was built on the foundations made by several earlier cultures. Like, who were the Incas, Miss Ala? Who were the Inca? We do not know anything about Inca. According to the video that we already watched together, Inca united much of the Andes under their rule, okay. It was united by Andes, okay. Now, the first settled in the valley of Cuzco that we already know from the video. It's in Peru, okay. They built a kingdom there by the 1200s, okay. The Inca believed that the ruler was related to the sun god. There is a relationship between the ruler here and the sun god, okay, who would bring wealth, power to them. So they followed the ruler's instructions because they thought that he is related to the god, the sun god, so and he's going to bring for them wealth and power. Only men from one of 11 noble families believed to be descendants of the sun god could serve as king. That we already talked before. Now, Pakuchi builds an empire. Pakuchi builds an empire. In 1438, Pakuchi became the ruler of the Inca. He made conquest after conquest. He wanted to invade just to maximize the Inca Empire. By 1500, the Inca ruled an empire that stretched along the Andes from modern Ecuador all the way south to Chile, Argentina. Here, I'm going to show you. Here, Ecuador, Cuzco, Chile, and Argentina. The 4 quarters. The 4 quarters. Okay, how many people were there? It held about 16 million people. 16 million people. Very important. How was Pakuchi ruling? Well, his beliefs and his practices related to the sun god, and it was a little bit taken a religious meaning, which was, of course, depends on peace, loyalty, etc. So the empire did not grow only through military conquest. It was, of course, by maximizing the empire itself by military conquest, but it wasn't the only thing that the Inca Empire were built upon. Often the Inca offered new peoples the chance to join the empire peacefully. So how did they rule Inca Empire? Peacefully, as long as they swore loyalty to the emperor. So people did swear loyalty to the emperor. After that, the emperor himself is going to treat them in a peaceful way. Many peoples became part of the empire in this way. Why? Lots of people wanted to join because the emperor he treated them peacefully. This is very important to you. Even when force was needed afterward, the Inca tried to win the loyalty of the conquered peoples through friendship rather than fear. People then, they were not having any kind of negative emotions or feelings towards the emperor. Why? Because after he conquered the peoples, he conquered them friendship, and he did that through or by friendship, building friendship with them, rather than making them scared of him. So why? Pakuchi was a great ruler, a great emperor. Well, because once people swore loyalty to him, he treated them peacefully. Yes, he conquered the peoples, but he conquered them through friendship rather than fear. Okay? This is going to be your homework though. Also, I want to show you something else. Now we're going to talk a little bit about government system, the system of the government. Well, the Inca had a highly organized system. According to the video that we already watched together, they had a very organized system to govern their empire. Small groups of people known as Ailo worked together for common food. So who were Ailo? They were people who worked together for the common food. For example, they built irrigation ditches together. The Inca applied this idea to their empire. Which idea? The idea of the irrigation, building irrigations. Families were placed in groups of 10, 100, 1,000, and so on. A chief led each group. So, for example, families were divided into groups. Each group couldn't be less than 10, couldn't be less than 100, or couldn't be less than 1,000. As you see, they used the decimal system by adding zeros, like 10, 100, 1,000, and so on. Like 10,000, like it could be 10,000, or 100,000, or million. So as you see, lots of zeros here. That was the decimal system that they used to divide families upon. Okay? That was here. So here, back to we took already cities, we took political system. Let's have a look about roads system. Roads system. Well, I guess that's enough for you for today. Inshallah, next week we could discuss together road system, because it's very complicated. It takes time. So let's finish till here. Thank you for watching the video. Thank you for your consideration and for your time. I hope you understand the lesson. If you have any questions, please send it to me through LMS. Thank you. Bye bye.